Hello, you all. Welcome to the channel. It is a beautiful day in Texas, in Waco. It is humid out here, um, but it's one of those days to where I really wish I had the energy to do more, but I don't. Anyway, I'm talking kind of low because I have neighbors that across the street. They're getting their boat ready to go out, and also the mailman just came by, and it's a Sunday. I didn't know that they delivered mail on a Sunday, but he just delivered our mail on a Sunday. So anyway, now that my neighbor is leaving, I can talk more freely. But anyway, welcome to the channel. This is In Pursuit of Life with Sabrina. I am Sabrina. This channel is all about me pursuing life after a cancer diagnosis in 2015. And just to recap on my story, for those who new to the channel, I never really recovered from the treatments. Had really strong treatment. It was on the move. And but since then, we have found some other things, some side effects from the treatments. Do I regret the treatments that I had? No, because the cancer was on the move. We had to stop it. But do I not like the side effects? Absolutely. So I am living with the side effects almost 10 years in, and I have a couple of more chronic situations from the treatments, because as you treat the organ or treat the cancer, a lot of times you're having to do radiation over another organ that gets damaged. And for me, it was the lungs. And so I had breast cancer that I was diagnosed with. So anyway, so that's what I talk about in Pursuit of Life. And so welcome. One of the things that I had posted that I was going to talk about coming soon, things I wish I had known. So I'm going to talk about things I wish I had known today. And also I want to talk about the sadness that comes with this situation. And that sparked yesterday when something happened. And I'll talk about that in just a little bit. So to get started, there's some things that I wish I had done better or known to do when I first got diagnosed. And I hope it helps you, because, 2020 is hindsight. Hindsight is 2020. But if you can get ahead of that and not have to look back and go, man, I wish I'd done that, because it would have helped me so much more, then that's even better than looking back and going, yeah. But anyway, so I wish I'd chosen a cancer center that treated the whole body. I went to a cancer center, and I didn't understand my insurance, you all, and I thought I had to choose this one hospital system. And they didn't have like a cancer center with this hospital, but they went with Texas Oncology. And I'm not down in Texas Oncology, because I chose Texas Oncology, and they were really good, except the fact that they didn't treat the whole person like places like MD Anderson, or even the cancer center that I am going to now, which is a part of another hospital system that's in my same city. I didn't know I had that option to go to that facility. But I wish I'd had a social worker. I did have a nurse navigator, but I needed a social worker that helped me navigate everything, who understood all of this. This is the area they worked in. Wish I'd had a therapist that was part of my treatment, that at the beginning, who was trained. Okay, these are the treatments you're going to go through. These are the real side effects, and this is what you may feel, and this is normal. And that person stayed with me throughout the whole thing, and even afterwards. I would have loved to have the same person that I could have stuck with, or transferred me to someone else that picks up after the treatments to help me. I did have to, I did find a therapist, but it was months afterwards, suffering, kind of by myself, too weak to really do anything about a lot of that until I had the energy. I wish I'd had a nutritionist and dietitian that knew my case individually and could say, hey, you're about to go through this treatment you're about to take. It's very harsh on your body. So let's make sure you have these things already in your house. And because when you're going through treatments, you get so weak, and eating, you're always nauseated. And well, for me, it was because I had a really strong chemo that I chose because the cancer I was diagnosed with was on the move, and it was in my lymph nodes. So I wanted to make sure we got that stuff. And so, and then of course you have that really strong thing, and you go into radiation. And I didn't think radiation was as damaging as it was. I mean, people talk about it, but because I didn't know the effects of the radiation, I couldn't distinguish them between the cancer treatments, because I had or the healing from the surgeries I'd had like 3 surgeries before I started because of other things. And so right, that had to go in line before I started treatments. So anyway, I wish I'd had someone there to really explain it to me as I went along. Someone that consistently checked on me, who knows that when you're going through cancer and you're going through treatments and it's your first time, you don't know. So they just consistently check on you until you get it, until you understand. And then when it finally pops, they're there and say, yes, this is why I'm here. So having that dietitian and nutritionist, having that therapist would have really helped. Another thing that I wish I had was a physical therapist that worked with me while I was going through treatments and afterwards as to what I could and could not do. I've seen lots of physical therapists afterwards and everything, but I've had to seek them out once I felt better. I had to go through the process, and that is tiring, you all. And not everybody's going to go through that and do those things, but I did because I knew I needed it. And so I've gone through physical therapy for my brain a couple of times. I've gone through physical therapy for my neck. I've gone through physical therapy for my back. I've gone through physical therapy for my knee, only to find out my whole left side of my body was weak. And so I have made sure that I've done it, but it was years afterwards. And it would have been helpful to have somebody there to help me navigate that. And so, but if I'd chosen a cancer center that treated the whole person, that would have all been included. So that is the main thing that I think I would have done differently. And then someone to having the psychologist sit down with me and who talked to me about my case, what my body was going through, what it would do to, most likely to me, and what I would psychologically have to and emotionally have to deal with. Because all the people I talked to were people who had their treatments, bounced back, went right back to work. They were a little weaker, but they went back to work. Not me. I was, over the years after the treatments, I got weaker and weaker because I had side effects. And I had more than just that we were dealing with. Now, mind you, they called me a healthy cancer patient because I didn't have any extra stuff, because I'd always taken care of my body. I'd always exercised, always eaten healthy, always, taking supplements. And so I knew how to help my body to stay as healthy as it could be. But the cancer I got, I was diagnosed with, was just because I was a woman. It was estrogen and progesterone based. And so, but they call me a healthy cancer patient because of that. And I've always seen a therapist of some kind over the years. So I went in kind of with a more healthy mindset about disappointment, because I go through so much disappointment. So those are the things that I wish I had, and I just hope that encourages you. And if you're about to go through treatments, or you just got diagnosed, or you're in the middle of treatments, I really highly suggest you do that. And it would be ideal to be in a place to have a cancer center that treated everything. So it takes a lot off of you and your family trying to figure things out from one of the most devastating things you will ever face or hear in your life. Trying to, while you're dealing with that. So anyway, and dealing with the aftermath. So I just want to talk about the sadness that now I was walking yesterday. Now one of the things that I don't like from the side effects is my body, because of all the things that we are dealing with, my body is healing on so many levels. Any extra that comes into my area of health can overtax my body. like a normal person can, have the flu virus, or have someone with a cold comes by them and their white blood cells go into attack mode, and they can fight that thing off a whole lot easier than someone whose body is constantly, like when we're in the healing, on this healing journey. And guys, I will be 10 years in this healing journey in July, but which is a month from now. Wow. But when your body is already fighting any little extra anything, throws your body into overload. It can. And I'm still taking supplements, and I'm still eating healthy, making healthy choices, and still exercising as much as I can. And so yesterday, well, I mean, I had been I was around someone, I don't know, maybe it was more than one person, I don't know, but I got really, really sick, you all, and it took a couple of days to really knock me down, but it really knocked me down. And it was a weekend with family, and one of my nieces graduated from high school, and I was very, very careful even where I sat. In Texas, we have our graduations, and especially after COVID, a lot of the bigger schools have just done them in their multi-million-dollar stadiums, football stadiums, or nice stadiums. And so they've just continued to do the bigger schools and the big graduation. Those. It's not that we have a lack of places to have it. I mean, we have Baylor University in our city. So we have 2 huge indoor places where one they used to have basketball, to do the basketball games. They no longer do the basketball games there. They built a new center. And then we have this, we have just so many different areas that you can have big events. And so indoor, but they've decided to do outdoor, which is good for me because I just gotten over my lungs flaring up, and then I started getting sick, and I didn't get sick in the normal way. I just started feeling run down, like something was off. I could tell. And so, I upped my vitamin D and upped the immunity stuff that I already take. And after a while, it just knocked me down for a couple of days. So I was out walking yesterday, and for the first time in like I said, today is Sunday. Yesterday was Saturday, Sunday, last Sunday, and it was the last time I felt strong enough to walk. And as I was walking, it was such a beautiful day. First, I didn't want to walk, but I'm like, no, I'll probably feel better. And I just took my time and went slowly. And I didn't want to stop. I wanted to continue, but my body said, that's enough. And it made me sad because, guys, you know how many times I want to do things that I will start, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I plan to do, and I can't do it because my body peters out. There's so many events that I'm invited to that I can tell almost a week before that I'm not going to make it. Or I'm in the middle of recovery and of something that my body just can't handle that extra at that time, and I have to say no. So it's this sadness that comes on me because I love life and I want to do more. You all, right now my lungs are so irritated that when I go to church, I can't sit in the main sanctuary. I have to sit away from people because just the smells that never bothered me before at all, because I've never had lung issues until just the last couple of years. Damage to the lungs from the radiation in 2015 or 2016 is when I had the radiation. So I will start to cough and it irritates my lungs and I can't breathe. So my church was big enough to where, because I went to church in Austin, and my church was big enough to where I could just go sit in the lobby upstairs or the lobby downstairs and still see the sermon, but away from people. And I went to, for Mother's Day, I went to church with my daughter. Sorry guys, I'm outside in Texas. It's probably some little bug that's got my shoulder there. But yeah, I went to church with her and I thought we were going to be fine. We went to the third service because she said that's the one that has the least amount of people. And we were fine at first, and then we got through with praise and worship, and more people came around me. And these women that had these beautiful smelling colognes, and of course, the regular good smelling body scents that people have on that you never notice, the deodorant and the body stuff. So it just started, I started to cough, and I knew that's what it was from. So I had to move to the back. I couldn't even sit with my daughter. I had to move all the way to the back, and because the ushers had everybody kind of sitting up front and just telling my situation, and they opened up a section for me away from people, and I just put on a mask, and I was able to sit through the service. But that makes me sad, you all, because that means there's a lot of things I can't do until we figure this out. You know, like I love going to basketball games, and that's out of the question because that's a lot of people, and just anywhere where there's a lot of people right there together is hard. My niece's graduation was fine because we were outside, we were on bleachers, and I was able to sit up higher, so it wasn't as bad. And it was a nice windy, it was just slightly windy night, so that helped too. So anyway, so that is all I wanted to talk about today. If you are going through something like this, you know, just know you're not alone. And I want to talk about the loneliness. I'll do that the next time. I want to talk about the loneliness that I am dealing with because of this. You know, and for one thing, like today would have been a good day because it's so pretty outside and got a pretty yard and pretty back patio, to invite people over and to have had the energy to think about this and to just, you know, have a family gathering where we're just all inside and outside and just enjoying it. But I don't have the energy for that. I got up and I have not been able to go to church because my car was in a car accident. If you don't know, you can go back and look. I was in another car accident that was not my fault, but this time it really hurt my car. And you all, I'm a careful driver. I do not understand what's been going on. However, I have what they used to call full coverage, but collision, liability, and whatever else, I forget what it's called, comprehensive, I think. But I am waiting on their insurance to pay because I'm of this mindset of, why should I come out of my pocket and put it on my insurance when you're the one that hit me? And my body shop's okay with waiting on them. So we got the crash report finally. And so now, you know, and the body shop is working with the other insurance company. We're gonna get my car fixed. But one of the reasons I waited too, you all, was because it's this month that my car insurance is supposed to be renewed, or the next month in July. Yeah, this is the last month I paid. I don't want that on my record because I have been told that sometimes they take a long time to pay you back, and it will still be on your record until that other insurance company does their part. Well, that's going to hurt me when I go to renew insurance. So why put it on my insurance if it can be put on theirs? So anyway, well, I'm sorry guys, it's kind of dark. I don't know if I'm under cloud cover or what. I think I'm kind of dark, so I apologize for that. But anyway, well, that's all. And I just want to encourage you to have courage in the adversity you're facing. Have courage in the pain. Everything we do to move forward is not done in vain. And until next time, you all, bye.